to Suricata Crafts. I'm Rebecca. In this video, I'm going to show you the very basics of knitting and purling. If you watched the first video about casting on, we'll be at the same spot. This is 25 stitches cast on. Our next step, we're going to slide the stitches up, but not all the way to the end. Leave about an inch. Then I'm going to hold on to these stitches with my finger just so they don't slide off. I'm going to wrap the yarn around my ring finger to hold for tension, which takes practice, but it'll come. First thing we're going to do is we're going to insert our needle from left to right in the first stitch. We're going to wrap the yarn around, pull our new yarn through the stitch, and then slide it off the needle. And that's it. That's the knit stitch. So we're going to insert into the stitch, wrap the yarn around, pull it through, and pull it off. We're going in, around, and off. Insert from left to right, wrap around, pull it through, and take it off. In, around, through, and off. In, around, through, and off. We've reached the end of our first row. Now, if we want to continue in garter stitch, we're going to flip our needle. I like to slide all my stitches of the first row, just slip them down a little bit so it's easier to see our stitches. We would do the same thing we've just done. Garter stitch is all knit stitches all the time. So we would just insert from left to right and continue knitting all the way down. You can see why using variegated yarn is easier, because I'm pulling an orange stitch through a yellow stitch, but you can also see the purple stitch, which means that it's easier to see which is your working yarn. So I have a purple stitch and a yellow stitch. I'm going to insert, wrap around, and it's so easy to see the orange stitch. This is why I always recommend variegated yarn for beginning knitters. I need to slide my stitches up, so I'm going to make sure I pinch my needle so I don't push them right off the edge. And I hold them with my left finger just to keep them from sliding off. You might find it easier to start on bamboo needles, which have more of a grip to them rather than the metal needles that I'm using. These are aluminum, because the aluminum is very slippery, which I prefer in my knitting, but is not necessarily great for a beginner. So cotton yarn and bamboo needles is a very frictiony yarn needle combination. You won't have stitches falling off the tip of your needle if you're using bamboo and cotton. There's the second row of our garter stitch. Next thing I'm going to do is teach you how to purl. I'm going to flip my needle, start my tension. Now this time we're going to put our yarn in front of the needle instead of behind. We're going to flip it to the back. Now we're going to insert from right to left. We're going to wrap the yarn around. We're going to push it through. We're going to slide it off. So the yarn is always in front when you're purling. We're going to insert from right to left, wrap it around, push it through, and slide it off. So we're going to insert right to left, wrap it around, push it through, and slide it off. Right to left, wrap it around, push it through, and pull it off. Now we're going to flip it and we're going to work in stockinette stitch. So we're going to knit one side, purl the other. One thing I do to help me remember, I put a stitch marker. These are my favorite ones. They're shaped like a safety pin. I just insert it on the side that I'm going to knit. I close it up, and that way I know if I'm on this side, starting this side, then I should be knitting. Set my tension. Now we're going to knit. So I'm going to insert around, pull through, and we're going to slide off. Insert in, around, pull through, and off. In, around, through, and off. In, around, through, and off. And we're just going to continue this all the way down to the end of our row. We've reached the end of our knitting row. I like to straighten them out. Then I flip. This stitch marker is on this side, so we're going to purl. So we're going to put our yarn in front of our needle. We're going to insert from right to left, around, push it through and off. In, around, push through and off. If you find I'm going too fast, go to the gear-shaped icon and you can slow the speed down to a more comfortable speed to work at. You'll get the hang of it really soon. So I've reached the end. I'm going to straighten my stitches. This is my knit row because of the stitch marker, but you can see the stitches are very smooth now. This was our garter stitch where we were knitting every row, and it's bumpy. Now that all the stitches are flat, this is our stockinette stitch. That is knitting one side and purling the other. I'm going to continue to knit and purl for a few more rows. Then you can join me in the next video for how to cast off. I'll see you then. Have a great day and happy crafting.